Hello and welcome to this presentation on habit formation and psychology of change. I'm really excited to be sharing with you some of the tools, strategies that I use in the whole health coaching practice to help people implement change, to help people add new habits into their existing routines. And I'm happy to be sharing with you what really can support your journey and help you to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be with your health. So, welcome, and I really hope that some of the tools are going to be useful and you may as well learn a thing or a couple of things from it. So the most important part to start with is to understand our brain and the fact that our brains are actually wired to preserve the energy and to stick what we already know. So our brains like the familiar. So whenever you introduce a new habit, it's going to feel hard because they require more mental energy to create something that is unknown. So struggling with change doesn't mean that you're weak or that you're missing, willpower or motivation. It's just your brain doing its job of keeping you safe and efficient. So awareness is the first step to working with your brain, including an awareness that when you introduce a routine or a new habit, there will naturally be some friction. There's often a resistance to unfamiliar behavior at first, and this is a normal part of change. And we don't need to fight it, nor give it so much attention that it starts taking control over us. Instead, you simply notice the discomfort that arises when something new is introduced. Observe it, work with it, and do it anyways. So remember that our brains are wired for survival and not for transformation and change. So we need to know how to work with our brains to create change. We often think about change as a linear progress, right? But real change is a very flexible and dynamic process. It's more like a journey through different stages. So some days you will progress and you will move forward, but other days we pause your progress or you may even slide back a bit as well. So the stages of change model breaks down change into a few key stages. Understanding them really helps us to be more patient with ourselves, but also more strategic with our efforts as well. So we have pre-contemplation. So that's where we start with. We're not aware that we want to make any changes. We're not aware of a problem or a thing that we want to optimize yet. And then we have contemplation. So we start thinking, that there's something we would like to optimize, whether it's in our health or any other kind of areas of your life. And then preparation. So preparation, you start gathering your resources. You may sign up to a workshop or buy a book or employ a coach or a mentor or practitioner. So you start gathering your resources. And that will help you to move into action. So realizing what have you need to do specifically for that goal to become a part of your life and to implement that into your routine. And then it's obviously up to you to take the action steps, to have a right plan of action steps created as well. And when you repeat it enough times for yourself, because all of us are very different here as well, you will then move into maintenance. But the thing about change is that from maintenance, you can go all the way to preparation and contemplation. So again, it's very dynamic. It depends on what's happening in our lives. What I would definitely encourage you to do is to use this model to examine any areas of your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, creativity, your career, and simply evaluate the different aspects of your life and your health, or your core health pillars as well. You can evaluate your nutrition, your sleep, your movement, and then notice which stage you are currently in. And from there, you can identify what will help you move toward taking action, or maybe you have done it before. What were the things that have helped you in the past? So you can move all the way to taking actions. And that brings you obviously closer to where you want to be, or simply support your process of optimizing your life on different levels till you move to the maintenance. So in doing this inventory, I recommend to everyone to have it as a part of your regular practice. You can do it monthly, you can do it every second month, and just look into different areas that matter to you and evaluate them and see where are you on this kind of in the stage pattern, if you like. Intrinsic motivation comes from within. So it's driven by your personal values, curiosity, and desire to grow, not by external rewards or pressure. So when you're intrinsically motivated, you are more likely to stay committed, even when things get challenging, because the reason for your change feels meaningful to you. So intrinsic motivation is something that I always start my health coaching sessions with. The first session that I have with a new person, I really want to find out from them what are the meaningful, deep whys behind what they are working on, what are the change they want to see. And I would encourage you to do that as well for yourself. You can pause this presentation here. You can find a quiet space, maybe close down your eyes if you like. Place your hands on your heart or your belly. Connect to your breath first. Feel your body, feel your feelings. Stay with your breath. And then ask yourself this question: which part of your health feels most important to nurture at this stage of your life? Which part of your health feels most important to nurture at this stage of your life? Or maybe even ask yourself, what would being healthier allow you to do or become? What would being healthy allow you to do, feel, or become that you maybe can't access fully today? Whatever that is for you, it could be more energy, more presence with other people, more adventure, more joy, self-trust, more confidence, more freedom. And who do you want to become through the way you care for your health? So think about it. What kind of person cares about their health or listens to their bodies, honors their needs? What kind of person shows up consistently? And if you like, you can write those things down, or you can take a little bit longer as well and connect to your intrinsic motivations. Ask yourself why, find your deeper whys. And habit stacking is a behavior change technique that involves attaching a new desired habit to an existing established routine to make it easier to stick with. So by building a habit or on established behaviors, you reduce this mental effort, the energy that your mind needs to use. And that helps you to also create a momentum, for your new habits as well. And you're not relying on the motivation needed to form a new habit, so that you make this process more natural and also more consistent. So whatever you are already doing, it becomes a cue for that new thing that you want to introduce into your life. Reframe your habits into an identity statement. When we do that, we stop chasing goals and we start actually living from the place of alignment. So habits became less about what we do and more about who are we becoming in this process. So that shifts what turns temporary effort into lasting transformation. So I would invite you as well to take some quiet time to reflect on your habits and how they relate to your sense of self or your values, your personal values. So very often we focus on what we want to do, But true and lasting change happens when we actually shift our focus from doing to being. So instead of asking yourself, what should I do? Try asking, who do I want to become? And this is called an identity shift. So when our habits start reflecting the kind of person we believe ourselves to be, you may want to write some identity statement related to your current situation. So, if you want to force yourself to go to the gym, it may be quite hard, but if you change your identity statement and you say, I am an active person, I am someone who enjoys moving my body, that already feels differently, right? So you're shifting your doing to your being and who are you becoming in this process. And then what you want to do to become that person, it becomes a part of who you already are and makes this process much easier. So please remember that early progress is invisible, and there will come a tipping point, that moment when all the small steps you've been taking over time start to add up and create real change. So small habits are the building blocks of lasting change. So instead of focusing on massive transformations, tiny actions, sometimes just a few minutes or even a single repetition, can create momentum over time. James Clear in Atomic Habits emphasizes that success doesn't come from grand goals, but from the systems and routines we implement daily. BJ Fogg, the creator of the tiny habit method, highlights that when habits are small enough to do without friction, that I mentioned in the beginning, they're more likely to stick. So you really want to start small, and there will be tipping point for sure. And this is one of the most powerful tools we can also use when trying to create a new habit. And it's called the SMART goal framework. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time restricted. We use this method in psychology, in coaching, and behavior change as well, to turn your intention into clear, doable steps. I personally love using SMART goals, and honestly, most people do too. There's something really empowering about them. They give you clarity and focus, so you know exactly what you are working on. But SMART goals obviously aren't just about motivation, they are also a tool for accountability, and they help you track what is working, what is not working, and where you may need to make some adjustments. So, in other words, they turn your intentions into a very clear roadmap. So, make your goal very specific, what you want to achieve, break it down, measurable as well, sorry, so you know when you how you can measure your success, achievable, so make it realistic to your current lifestyle, be practical about it, relevant to your longer term goals and what you're trying to achieve, and also have some sort of time restriction, or make them time specific. And there's an example, one of the examples here. Starting tomorrow, after brushing my teeth in the evening, I will sit in an undisturbed space and practice 10 minutes of breath work every day for the next 30 days, tracking each session to build a consistent habit that reduces stress and improves focus. And for most of us, we are going to feel the friction when we introduce something like that. But again, feel it and do it anyways. It is a natural part of the process of introducing change. And finally, the last slide. Think about your environment as a silent partner in your habits. So when your surroundings align with the person you're trying to become, they don't just support you, they actually multiply your progress. And tasks feel easier, decisions feel more natural, and change becomes more sustainable as well. So let's say your goal is to reduce sugar intake, but there's a bowl of Christmas chocolate right on your kitchen counter. So every time you see that chocolate, your brain has to make a choice, resist or indulge. And the more often that decision pops up, the harder it becomes to resist. And over time, you are more likely to actually give in, even if your intentions were very strong to begin with. So now imagine flipping the scenario. You replace that chocolate bowl with a bowl of nuts or maybe some berries and simply store sweets out of sight or give it to someone else. Suddenly your environment is helping your habits instead of working against them. So small changes like this turn your willpower into a natural, almost effortless flow toward that person that you want to become. I hope that was helpful. You can go back to this presentation whenever you are implementing something new or you want to see change in your life, and hopefully you can use some of the tools and techniques that I share with you. Thank you.